we're fasting because on 10th of Teves, Nebuchadnezzar came and took siege on Yerushalayim, and approximately 3 years later, that led to the destruction of the first base of Mikdash. And we commemorate that day. Now, there's also machlokes and whether or not there's other things also that happened. Some people say also Ezra Sofer passed away on that day. Some people say not. But that Ezra Sofer passed away.
Ezra.
But the ikr is that Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian general, took siege, and that led ultimately to the destruction of the first base of Mikdash. So that's why we're fasting today. Now there's a few shilas, that's the truth, that people take on as over pashat, but not so simple. Whether or not people who aren't fasting aren't allowed to say anenu, right, in their tefillah, right? And we know minhag Ashkenaz is to only say anenu anyway by the yachid, only by mincha time. But if someone isn't fasting, is he allowed to say anenu or not? Dahenu is the reason why we're saying anenu, because the day is garim to say anenu. Dahenu, it's a day that's kavul rabbim for tainis, for tefillah, and therefore even if someone isn't fasting, since it was a day that's kavul, it's a day that's set for the rabbim to fast and to daven, so he's also part of the rabbim because he's not fasting. So instead of saying yom tanisenu, he'll say yom tanis. But he's still at least able to say anenu, and that's the shita of the Bach and the Chai Adam. And there are those who argue, the Mordechai and others, and the Be'er Halacha brings us down la halacha, that Lamaisa, it's the fast that's garim the anenu, not the day itself. So therefore, only someone who's shaykh to the fast, is able to say anenu. Now there's a stira in the Mishnah Berurah what to do. If one looks in Tafkov Samachay in the Be'er Halacha over here, so he says, after bringing the Chayadim that one could say, he says afterwards, and he's right. The Yachid Sheinu Misana, someone who's not Misana, Ein Le'er Anenu B'Shum Panim, shouldn't say Anenu under any circumstances. The Be'er Halacha very clear. If you look in Tafkov Samachay, if Kadin Gimel though, he says, V'nir the Betanis Tzibur, Afal Pisha Achal, Yochel loymer anenu betfilas, they could say anenu. The shaykh loymer anenu b'yom tzom hatanis hazeh. Moshe tiknu chachamim misanos bo ukteleil sim tafku samachay. But here it's very clear otherwise that since you could say yom tzom hatanis hazeh and not tanisenu. If you say tanisenu, so you're a liar because I'm not fasting. So you can't say tanisenu, but you can at least say yom tanis hazeh, which is like the other opinion. So what's going on over here? What's the issue? What's the peshat dvarim? Do you say? Don't you say? What's going on? So now, in the Shana Halachas, Rav Chaim Kanevsky on the Mishnah Berurah, he wants to be miyashiv that in the beginning, in Tafkov Samachay, when the Mishnah Berurah says that one shouldn't say anenu b'shum panim, we shouldn't say anenu altogether, that's the case where someone's not shaykh to the tanis at all. In other words, he knows from the beginning he won't be fasting, he's sick, he's earnest, whatever the case may be.
So he shouldn't say because he's not shaykh to the fast at all. Over here, he wants to taina that when you do say, is in the case of someone who's shachach v'achal, he forgot, or he made a mistake, he forgot whatever it was, and he ate, but he bets him was shaykh to the fast, right? He was supposed to fast, but the guy forgot in the middle, and he just mentions, there he's able to mention Yom HaTayin and says that. So I saw a few people also bring such a pshara, but Lamaisa I don't understand so much, because mimanashach, if you're holding like the Shitas who hold that the fast is being garim the anenu, so it doesn't make a difference if I'm shaykhed it from before or now. The Maisa, at the end of the day, I didn't fast, and since I didn't fast, I'm not shaykhed to that bracha v'anenu. So if that's the way you hold, so I shouldn't have to say. But if you're holding that the day was garim, so whether or not I was shaykhed in the beginning, I should be able to say. So I don't know how you could, how it's to be able to hold the string from both ends of the rope because the two shitas are arguing on each other. Lamaisa, it doesn't matter what time the person eats.
No.
In terms of this.
Doesn't make a difference. Interesting to note, just to speak out the machlokes, Sfardim do say anenu by shachris, because they hold, as the shittas of Machaber is, that the whole day is a fast day, and even though the person himself might not be fasting, they might have shaykh fasting, and the nusach by all Sfardim is yom tanis, as we don't say yom tanisenu, and the Ramah holds that only by mincha, because they're afraid shemech hazena bolmus, that there was maybe a guy will contract some type of disease that he's going to eat right away, and then what's going to happen? He's nimtzak shakran. He said anenu in the morning, and then by the time afternoon rolled around, he already started eating because he got sick. So by mincha time, you're not worried about that because al kopanim he fasted half a day that already has a shem tainus on it. But
that's why I asked.
But here
Here it's not shaykh yet. So the Aruch HaShulchan brings down these two svaras, and he says, Lo ra'inu v'lo shamanu, because I never heard of such a person who, when he didn't fast, said anenu and just said Yom Tzom Tanis Hazeh. And Kim Dumani, that's the minhag that people don't say no matter, even if they forgot and they ate. But I would ask a Rav, because I see that amongst the poskim there's a lot of confusion, but Aruch HaShulchan does bring that he never heard of such a minhag, and he has never heard of such a person who after eating would still say anenu even with the nusach of Yom Tzom Tanis Hazeh.
What about getting an aliyah?
What about getting an aliyah? Now, there's a machlokes about when the Chazal instituted to read Vayichal on a fast day. Did they do it because of those who fast, or again because it became like a Monday or a Thursday? It became like one of the days they are chayiv in Sefer Torah. Now the Chassam Sofer in the Tshuva brings, and Aruch HaShulchan doesn't quote him, but he says it's Kalach Hayad, and I guess that's where he's getting it from. That they learn that the Kriya Vayichal on a fast day is midin takana of a Monday and Thursday. The same way we're chayiv on Monday and Thursday to read from the Sefer Torah, we're also chayiv to read on fast days. In other words, it was kavua. Nothing to do with the fact that people are fasting or not. That was a day that was kavua for fasting. Others, the Shulchan Aruch brings the shita, and he's very clear that those who don't fast shouldn't get called up to the Torah, and that's the Mishnah Paschals also. The Maisa, he says that people, even if it falls out on a Monday or Thursday,
even if they can't help themselves, like they said they're sick or something.
Yeah, even so, they're holding that the takana of reading Vayichal came because of the fact that one's fasting, not because it's a day it's Kavul Rabbim, and they held that you couldn't. So now the Maisa, it's a nafkamina, right? The nafkamina is that according to the Chassam Sofer and the Aruch HaShulchan, one could get an aliyah even if they're not fasting. According to Mishnah, you can't. So what about that? Those shitas, right? The shitas Harishonim who learn that only those who get an aliyah, only by a fast. So they'll say that's only by Tanis Tzibur that was nigzer on them. From the tzibur. In other words, there's a nafkamina. If let's say there's a tzara, God forbid, in a community, and the Rabbanim get up and say, okay, we're nigzer our fast on that day. So that day, that's when someone who's not fasting won't be shaykh at all to the Kriyas HaTorah, and therefore, according to everybody, you shouldn't get an aliyah, because that's a special day, a special fast that was instituted, for a one-time thing for people to fast. But the Dalat Semis, that we're fasting every year, so there the Aruch HaShulchan says that, and the Chassam Sofer the Maskim says chiluk, that there's a nafkamina between fasting, between getting aliyah, because at least it's a day that's kavua for everybody to read from the Torah, no matter whether they're fasting or not. Lamaisa kimdumani, people don't. People tell the gabbai if he comes over to you to get to get an aliyah, you tell them, even if he's a kohen, you tell him I'm not fasting, and they choose someone else.
Yeah. Because the Mishnah Berurah says you can't get an aliyah, but you can say Tanis Hazeh.
Right. Well, I mean, depending on which Mishnah Berurah you're going with. Right. Yeah. Depends on which Mishnah Berurah you're going with. Right. That's right. That's right. Also, the Mechaber brings down that someone who's not fasting shouldn't be a shleach tzibur for obvious reasons, because again, he can't. Since the machlokes is whether they can say anenu or not, especially going to shidduch Mechaber, so one shouldn't be a shleach tzibur than to say anenu for needlessly, according to those who hold that he shouldn't be. Now, there's an interesting shiloh. That is, if someone forgot and he ate, now, without the problems of anenu or not. Let's say someone forgot today's a fast and he ate. First of all, how much does he have to eat to be considered that he lost his fast? And secondly, does he have to fast another day instead? Because Lamaisa, today is a day that's set for everyone to fast, and the guy ate. Maybe he should fast the next day, he should fast tomorrow, the day after, I don't know. Pick another day to be pareya, to pay back what he did. Now, the Mishnah Berurah brings down over here that first of all, it's important to know that in order to lose your fast, one has to eat a kazayis. If one eats by accident less than a kazayis, even though it's also to eat even less than a kazayis. But let's say someone forgot and ate, and he eats less than a kazayis. Lo yibit tanis, so he didn't lose his tanis yet, and he's still able to say anenu, and he's still able, according to everybody, and he still can get an aliyah, can still daven and everything, and he obviously won't have to redo his fast afterwards. Yeah. But if
he has
to have it within a shir. If I eat less than a kazayis now, and 10 minutes later eat another chetzi kazayis, so it's not the 2 shir and it's not mitzaref. So that would be still considered as fasting.
Right.
Now, the Mishnah Berurah brings down that on a Tanis Tzibor, one doesn't have to redo his fast. Now you have to eat a kazayis. First of all, one has to eat a kazayis, and he's still chayav lahashlim, because it's a day that's kavu of everyone to fast, and just because you ate now and you ate more than a kazayis doesn't take away from the fact that everyone is fasting, and therefore he's still chayav lahashlim. In other words, the fact that you ate doesn't pot yourself from continuing to fast the rest of the day, because it's still a yom tanis for everybody. That being the case, one doesn't have to you don't have to redo it another time. And if you do, it's only al kapar, right? The Mishnah Berurah brings from the Mishnah the Maril that the Maril once passed into somebody who ate on a fast day, that he should fast again another day, but because of kapar, not because he's paying back. So therefore, if someone is weak, so either you could pay back, you can give a little bit of money tzedakah, to be pointed a bit tzedakah, but there's no chiyuv to re-fast if someone ate by accident, because he's chayav lahashlim. Even if he woke up in the morning and had a big bowl of cereal, he'll still be. Then he realizes he's still have to be mashlim his tinus till the end. Now there's two pratim that, and then we'll get to another major shaila. One could rinse out his mouth in the morning and brush his teeth on a tinus, or not. The Mechaber brings that on a Tanis Tzibor, one shouldn't wash out his mouth with water all one time. He brings here that Misha Darko Lirchaitz Piv Veshach is someone who always rinses out his mouth in the morning. Betanis Tzibor lo kash lemei betachi. On a Tanis Tzibor, it's not a good thing to do this. But Tanis Yachid, in other words, someone who's fasting for a yard site or whatever it is, who accepts upon himself a fast, he's able to do it, and etc. Now we have, but it's clear according to the Mechaber, according to the Shulchan Aruch, one shouldn't be rinsing out his mouth. He should not. That's also there's low kasher lemei b'tachi. It's not the best thing to do. Mishnah Berurah brings here b'shem the Chayadam that if someone is b'tzar gadol, then by every Tanis Tzibor except for Tisha B'av, he's able, and of course Yom Kippur, right? He's able to rinse out his mouth as long as he puts in his mouth less than revis, and he keeps his head down to make sure he won't swallow anything. So if a guy's b'tzar gadol, one's able to do that. I saw in a tshuva Minchas Yitzchak that the same din applies to brushing teeth. In other words, those who are able to not do it, so they shouldn't do it. But if you're b'tzar gadol, so then you're able to do it as long as you keep the Tanaim the Mishnah Berurah brings by rinsing out your mouth, by keeping your head down, and making sure you don't have in your mouth revis and spitting out everything, not swallowing anything. Right, that's not. But by the Arbatanias, but not Tisha B'av, not Tisha B'av.
I didn't quite catch a bit about Einenu. Okay, so we do Einenu, of course, later in the afternoon, yeah?
Right.
So if you're not fasting, would you still say Einenu?
Oh, so we said we brought the so Lamaisa, it's not so simple, but can you read the minig is that you don't, if you're not fasting, you don't say Einenu.
You don't.
That's mistam of the minig.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whose tsar is it here? Your tsar or other people's tsar? But they're rinsing their mouth.
Oh no, that's your own tsar. That's a personal thing. Yeah. That's your own personal. If you have
early in the morning, you're by yourself.
That's right. Just to finish off with one other interesting shaila.
But as far as brushing teeth, does that only apply to the morning, or does it apply all day?
The whole day. Shouldn't be a difference.
What are the cases of Lovil Perea?
So those cases are cases where you take on a fast yourself. In other words, let's say someone made a nether to fast a certain amount of days, or made a nether to fast a certain day, whatever it is, and then he ate on that day. So there is shaykh the dinim of Lovil Perea. But not by.
That's where you have to make up the fast.
But which one?
Batsaris.
Yeah.
Rain.
Right.
Lovil Perea.
Yeah, those are also parts. But not the four ones that are kavua.
Lovil Perea.
Means to borrow. In other words, you chose a certain day to fast, and then you weren't able, meaning personally, and you weren't able to fast that day. Whether or not you could pay back with a different day instead. Yeah, but those dinim are really getting into dinim nedarim, and that's beyond the scope of a Tanis refresher. But there's another shaila, and there's a little bit of a steer like Gemara's. At what time a fast ends? The Gemara says in Tainus that kol Tainus shlo shakav alav v'chama, any Tainus that the sun didn't set isn't considered a Tainus. In other words, if someone ate before the sun set, which the Gemara over there seems that it's referring to Teis HaKochavim, in other words, until after Ben Hashmashos, isn't considered a Tainus. And And that's how many people take on. That's how Machar Paskins in Shulchan Aruch and Tafkuf Samach Beis. They call time and Shoshakav Olav in the Nikratanis, and that's how the Mishnah over here Paskins. And there's an important shared scene over here. Shulchan Aleph. We'll get to that in 1 second. Now, however, there's a little bit of a steer Samashmos. There's a Gemara in Psachim and Daf Mendalim Beis that's mashma that the only fast day that Ben Shmashos is Aser is only Tisha B'Av, like Yom Kippur. It's mashma like that all Ben Shmashos is good for doing whatever you want after a fast. I know it's mashma you can eat it during Ben Shmashos already. And Lamaisa, that's how few people even learn. So you'll say, how are those who are learning that the fast has to go to Tisha Chachavim? How are they miyash of the Gemara in Pesachim? They say very pashut. That Gemara is talking about Erev fast. In other words, you're allowed to do the fast hasn't started during Ben Shmashos to go into the fast, but going out of the fast, afuki yayma, to leave, that's already a different story. So now you ask me the opposite question. Those who are learning that you're allowed to eat on a Tanis Tzibur, those who make that diuk in the Gemara in Pesachim, that hold that you're allowed to eat during Ben Shmashos, how are they learning the Gemara in Tanis that says called Tanis Shashakav Alav Chama isn't called Tanis? So let's say Pashut. The Gemara says Shakal Alav Chama, says Shkia, and that's Shkia. Shkia is Shkia. It's not Tesei V'Chavim. So once Shkia comes and goes, then you're good to eat. Lamaisa, the meaning is that we wait till Tesei V'Chavim, where unless someone has a special case, you should ask a Rav. And there are two reasons for it really. The Sharat Tzin in Tafkuf Samach Beis brings two svaras why one should be makbid until Tesei V'Chavim. First of all, is we're not bekiyim really in the shir of Ben Shmashos. When it is, when it isn't, when it came, when it didn't come. So we're to be safe, wait till Tzeis, because we know for a fact that now that the day is over and we're able to eat. And the second svar is that by Sveikas we always we always go by the original Chazaka. So Ben Shmashos is a suffix whether or not it's mutter to eat or not. So the original Chazaka was that it was daytime. It was day during the day. It was for sure day. So now we're in a time that we're not sure if it's day or not. So whenever we have Sveikas, we always go basa the original Chazaka that it's still considered day and one wouldn't be able to eat. Just one other, just to be Messiah, there's a famous Chassam Sefer that brings by 10th of Teves that Kadosh Baruch Hu is nidon on every 10th of Teves, since it's the beginning of all the bad times of destruction, the first base of Mikdash, that we are nidon every 10th of Teves. We're judged on the 10th of Teves whether or not the base of Mikdash is going to be rebuilt that year or not, and if it's not, that whole generation is considered as if they're the ones who were responsible for the cause of destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, because obviously we haven't done tshuva in the proper way in order to merit the rebuilding. So that whatever averas caused the first Beis Hamikdash to be destroyed, right? The Gemara says it was the big three shvichas dam, Megillah, Rayos, and Avodah Zarah. So it must be that we haven't done a proper tshuva enough in order to merit the rebuilding, because if we would have, it would have been rebuilt by now. And therefore it's upon us to know that today is the day that we're judged on that. To be married with tefillah, like the Rambam says, that even though fasting is important, right, the ikar really is the tshuva. The fasting is meant to really bring a person to do tshuva and to be mepashas b'maisa, to look through his maisa and to see where he could improve himself. That in order to be zeicha, the Kadosh Baruch Hu should build the Beis Hamikdash b'meir b'yameinu.